Welcome back to Trailmakers with Fenrir. Today we have a short logic tutorial that someone asked for in my comments section on a different tutorial. They wanted to know how to make a weapon that'll only be active when it's folded out and can be swapped for a different weapon that then activates. So right here we've got a minigun that fires with X, then when you press R1 it switches over to a rocket launcher that fires with X. And as you can tell, it doesn't fire the weapon that's currently folded in, just the one that's exposed. And you can also see that the logic is pretty simple because there's only 4 blocks there. There's nothing hidden away. And so we basically just have, well, technically 3 little circuits, but 2 little circuits here. So in blue, we have our NOR gate, which I would say is our primary gate, because it's active at the beginning. And the only thing it's doing is being connected to this AND gate ahead of it. And the AND gate simply has a positive input of X and is attached to the minigun. So the AND gate will only turn on while the NOR gate is active and when you press X. And then for the switching, we head over here to the green, where we have an OR gate with R1 on a toggle in the positive value. And we have that connected to both our blue NOR gate and the green AND gate ahead of it, as well as the rotating servos up here, but you can have them just on their own toggle, say, like so. But seeing as I already had the logic blocks there, I decided to tie it in with them instead. And then what you might expect on the green AND gate, we have a positive control of X, and it's hooked in to our rocket launcher. So that'll only activate once we've already toggled on our green OR gate. So it's a pretty simple system. And what did I do? I turned off the toggle. There we go. It's a pretty simple system. It just switches back and forth. And I did whip up something a little bit different than what they asked for, just to fill out this demo a little bit more so it's not super short. And I also may have misunderstood their comment at first, but that's okay. So what we have here is a weapon that just stays hidden until needed, and then folds open. And it just has a little bit more logic going on for it, for the folding sequence, so that when you're opening it, the first thing that happens is the doors open, and then it pops open, and then it does the reverse sequence of actions when it closes. First it withdraws the thing, then it closes the flaps, so that nothing interferes with each other. So similar to before, we start off with our green here, which is a simple on-off toggle with a NOR gate and an OR gate. The OR gate has a toggle input on and is hooked into the NOR. And the NOR we'll start off with, because that's the resting position, has an output of -1, and it's hooked into this blue accumulator here, so that it's always draining out the accumulator when we have this closed. Then when we press R1 and toggle it on, it starts sending a signal to our accumulator, or our OR gate, and the accumulator is set to a minimum of 0, a maximum of 1.2, and then a scale of 1, and everything else is the same as standard. And it's hooked into 2 comparison gates. So there's two different stages that the accumulator filling we want it to react to. We want it to react when it first starts filling up at all to open our doors, and then once the doors are open, we want it to extend our pistons to raise up our gun. So the first of our comparison gates here is set to less than with a threshold of 0.1, so that as long as the accumulator is not, well, if it has a little bit of charge, it still opens up, but as long as it's not completely full, it'll be closing these little flaps. And as soon as it starts to fill up at all, it lets them open back up to their neutral position again. Then over here on the second comparison gate, it's set to greater than with a threshold of 1. So it'll take a little moment to fill up the accumulator to 1, and that gives the doors time to open up. And then once it does, it extends the pistons. Then, once you press R1 again and switch the toggle back over so that the NOR gate is active and draining out the accumulator, it does the reverse of actions by first being reduced below 1 and lowering the pistons, and that gives it enough time while it's draining out to get the minigun out of the way of the doors. So not much more complicated. It's mostly just the opening sequence that's different here, and a little bit of logic to support it. Oh, and this one other gate here. In order to have it not shoot until it's fully risen, I have a delay of what was supposed to be 0.12. A delay of 0.12 coming from our OR gate here, our green OR gate, going to this red OR gate. Yep, delay of 0.12. And then that goes into our AND gate for firing. So that just means that, let's say I'm pressing down X right now, it won't start firing until the barrel clears that little lip. Now, even though we know in Trailmakers we could shoot through something like that without it causing any damage to our own structure, if it's a much bigger structure, or like a much further away from the gun, it will damage it. It's only got like a short safe zone in front of it. So this way, it won't prematurely fire even if you're frantically trying to shoot while it's opening up. And I think that about does it. This short little tutorial. And to the person whose name I forgot in the comments section of the other video, I hope this answers your question and helps you out a little bit. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments or ideas for other tutorials, leave them in the comments section. And if you want to support the channel, leave a like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.